Okay, so this is how to adjust your throttle cable on your XJR. So with ignition on and your scan tool connected, you should see, hopefully at rest, the TPS reading. It could be like 10%, 12%, something like that. The most important thing is that's steady and it doesn't hop around and move around and stuff like that. Then if you just press the pedal there all the way down, see what we've got. Wide open throttle. Mine is 92.15%, which is good enough for me at the moment. But if yours is less than 90%, you might want to adjust it up a little bit. So there's a couple of adjusters under the bonnet, which I'll show you now. So first one's this one here. So this is your cable from the throttle pedal itself to the traction control unit over there. To adjust that, you move this sleeve out this way, and then you just literally wind. It's on a thread, so you just sort of wind it backwards and forwards to get your adjustment, and then lock it back into place. With the scan tool connected, you can see, what you're doing. You move it a few turns, go and check on the scan tool to see what changes you made. But if your idle's okay and the problem's at the other end, at the throttle body wide open, it's probably better off using the adjuster over there, which I'll show you now. So this one here, same thing. So you move this, and then again you just sort of wind this in or out depending on which way you want to go. Yeah, and then so ideally you get to above 90%. Wide open throttle should be fine, but you've got to sort of balance getting full throttle at this end with making sure your idle speed doesn't creep up at the other end. When you think you've got the adjustment about right, I of course keep coming back here and just checking to see where you've got to. So something about that would be okay. So 10-12% at one end and over 90% on the other. Then start the engine, and then just kind of give it about, sort of gently increase the revs to about 2000 RPM, and then just gradually release your foot off the pedal. And what you want to do is just make sure that the throttle can fully return back to idle again before you go off and drive the car around. Because what can happen is you put too much adjustment in the cable, you go off for a drive somewhere, and then you've got your throttle's stuck at 2,500 RPM because there's not enough tension left on the cable at the other end. So just be aware of that. But again, you can adjust the throttle with the engine on as well. So if you've got that problem, if you've not left enough tension in the cable to if you've put too much tension on the cable on the the pedal end, you can, with the engine running, just kind of back off that change until the revs can drop down back to idle again. So that's a good way of doing it as well. The other thing to bear in mind, my car's a manual, but if you've got an auto, you'll have a big kick down switch at the bottom of the pedal. I can't quite see it. And now there's quite a bit of adjustment on that itself. It's on quite a long stud. And what you can do is disconnect the electrical connector behind the kick down switch, and you can wind that switch all the way in, and that'll give you quite a lot if you're missing quite a large percentage off the wide open throttle end. that's another thing you can do. I've got rid of mine entirely because mine's a manual conversion car. And that's it. There's like three things you can do really. The 2 adjusters on the engine bay, fiddle with the switch at the bottom of the pedal to give you more more length to play with. And then there's actually one more adjustment that you can make. It's at the throttle body itself, which is obviously a lot more difficult to do because of the location of the throttle body, so one to avoid if you can. But that's it. That's how I did it anyway. Cheers.